Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of the 4-day project development bootcamp on React.js organized by the Computer Society of India, KJSIIT. Our session today will mark the beginning of phase 2 of this bootcamp. Our college, KJSIIT, Sion, has been accredited by NAC with an A grade and was awarded the Best College Award by University of Mumbai for academic year 18-19 Urban Region, CSI Mumbai Chapter, ISTE Maharashtra and Goa section. I would like to thank Professor Uday Rute sir, the Dean of Students Welfare, our Principal, Dr. Suresh Okarande sir, and Vice Principal, Dr. Sunita Patel ma'am, for giving us this opportunity to organize the boot camp and for all their support. Today, we have with us our very own software admin, Mr. Mitanshu Rechambala, for the speaker of this series. He is a final year computer engineering student at KJS IIT, an AI enthusiast and data analysis expert. He has data visualization, machine learning, and deep learning as a part of his large skill set. He has also worked as an AI engineer for the Indian Meteorological Department. He has participated in various hackathons and has worked on multiple projects, gaining proficiency in various web development frameworks and platforms such as React.js, React Native, and Node.js, making him the perfect person to deliver this bootcamp. We will now start with the session. Over to you, Mitanshu.
Hello everyone. So today what we are going to cover is we are going to cover how to handle authentication, how to handle routing, how to handle images using React and Firebase. So let me first give you a demo of what we are going to be building today. Okay, so as you can see, this is the application that we have built this is the application that we're going to build today. So this is the home page where you can see all the posts. This has a little bit of Instagram vibe in it. You can see who posted the post and the comments below. Okay, you can even add the comments. You can log in or sign up using either email and password or using Google Authentication. So let's sign in using my own Gmail ID. So you can see like we have handled Google Authentication, which is very difficult to do, but using Firebase, it's a very easy process to do that. Now that we are signed in, we can look at all the posts. We can even comment if we want to see. We can add comments into the post, and we can even create our own post. And we can upload some image regarding it. And you can see the new post has been added over here, and we can add some comments. Okay, so let's start building this. Okay, so let me just exit out of this. All right. Okay, so I have created a boilerplate React app using create React app. The command is npx create React app and the application name that you want to give to it. Okay, so right. Okay, first thing that we are going to do is we are going to remove all the boilerplate code. So app.test, logo, report web vitals, setup test, delete these 4 files. And then from app.js, we will remove the logo import file. And we are just going to empty all of this. Hi. And from app.css, we are going to remove all the styling. And from index.js, we are going to remove the report vitals code. That's it. So now on the browser, it should now have a plain blank web page with just hi on it, right? So now we can start. Okay. Before we start, let's first organize. Let's think in React. Okay, so over here, this is our home page. This is a login page and sign up page. These are the three pages that we will be building. Okay, so this header is common among everyone, right? So our header will be reusable, right? Okay. Second thing that we will be thinking about is a singular post is reusable, right? Whenever we are building in React, we think what can we reuse, because we want to create reusable components. So this whole component, it has the same layout with just different properties that it has. So the user who has uploaded might be different, the image might be different, the comments might be different, but overall the functionality of the post is same all throughout, right? So that's what we are going to do. So one, we are going to create a nav bar that's going to be reusable. Second, we are going to create posts that are going to be reusable. Same goes for each and individual comment. So there's just the user and the comment itself, right? There are only two things that are there in each comment. So individual comment will also be reusable, right? So these are the three reusable components that we can look at, that we will try to replicate. Okay. Second thing, we are going to be building these two pages. So for that, we are going to be using a library called React Router DOM. Okay. Um, and as you know, like from the title, that all our databases and image handling is going to be done using Firebase, even authentication. Okay, so first thing that we're going to do is we're going to just start another terminal, and we're going to install all the dependencies right from the beginning. So first one is Firebase. Then second one, which we need, is Material UI. So we need to install these three packages. I'll put this whole thing in the chat box so you can just copy it. We will require Material UI icons, and last we will require React Router DOM. So these are the packages that I'll be installing. So I'll share all of these in the chat box. Okay. So while this is downloading, we will set up our Firebase project. Okay. One requirement: those who have not attended the previous sessions, they might want to install Firebase tools globally. So this is the command to install Firebase tools globally. So those who don't have it should install it. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's set up our Firebase project. Okay. So you need to come to this website, console.firebase.google.com. Okay. Over here, we are going to create a new project. Okay. This project is going to be called as, okay, CSI social media, right? You can keep this on or off, doesn't matter. We are not using analytics in this. Default account for Firebase and create project. So this will take a few minutes to create. Okay, now the project is ready. So the next step that's going to be there is we are going to enable a few things, a few permissions. First thing, we will go to Firestore database, and in the rules, we are going to, sorry, my PC is a little slow today. Over here, we are going to click on create database. Okay. We are going to start it in production mode. Next. For location, whoever is from India will choose Asia South 1, and the others they can choose people from outside India, they can choose a server that is closest to them, Asia South 1. Right. And then click on enable. So this will create a Firestore database for you. Uh, Asia South 1. Okay, so basically what it's going to do is it's going to create a cloud storage bucket for you, okay, where all our data is going to be stored in this region. So this should create the database for you. For me, it will show errors. So I'm just going to do it manually. But for you, it will work. Okay, so just click on enable and it will work for you. I'll just do it manually from my phone. Well, this might take a minute or two because Firebase. Okay, so now my Firestore has been created. Um, so now next thing that we will do is we will go to rules over here, and we are going to change the rules of accessing the read and write permissions from false to true. Okay, I'm going to change it to true, and then click on publish. This will work for you, but for me, I'll have to do it manually. Okay, reload, and you can see now I have it true over here. The rules have been true. So basically, what did we do? Okay, what did we do? Okay, so first thing, we created Firestore in production mode in a with a server that is closest to us. For Indians, that is Asia South 1. Second, we came to the rules tab, and then we changed the permissions for reading and writing to true. Okay. Okay. Next thing that we are going to do is we are going to come to storage. Similarly, we are going to go to the rules tab, and then over here we are going to change the permission from allow read and write. So if request or equal not equal to null, we are going to change that to true. All right. So we want that the reading writing should be open for everyone. So security wise, this is not correct. So when you're creating an application for production, make sure that over here you set up the security rules properly. But just for this tutorial, do we need to publish after changing? Yes, you need to publish after changing. All right. So I'm going to change my uh, Firebase storage rules manually, and I clicked on publish. And if I refresh, you will see that I have the new rule set up. If someone gets an error like mine, which gives you an error that the changes are not being published, you can try changing these rules from your phone. That usually works for me. Okay, so what did we do? We created a Firebase project. We created a Firestore database. Um, in production mode with a server that's closest to us. And then third, we change the rules to allow read and write if true. So that means it will allow read and write for every user. Second, we came to storage and we did the same thing. We set the read and write to true for all users. Okay, and the third service that we will be using is authentication, right? So for that, let's click on get started. Okay, which sign-in providers are we going to use? So for this application, one, we are going to be using email and password. So click on enable and save. Okay, and this gave me an error. It won't give it to you. Okay, second, for Google, click on enable, and in your support email, just click on the ID with which the project was created. Okay, and then click on save. All right. So this will probably enable these two authentication providers for you. So for me, as you can see, Google is done. I'll try email again. Otherwise, I'll have to do this manually. Okay, I'll have to do this manually. Okay. I'll just refresh the page. Okay. So for authentication, we enabled email, password, and Google. Is everyone clear till here? What did we do? Okay, I'll move ahead now. Let's check if our all the libraries have been installed, and as you can see, all of them have been installed. You can see in the package JSON, all these new libraries are present now. Okay, now let's start. So what's the first thing that we're going to do is first we are going to set up the routing. So for that, what you need to do is, okay, clear, right? Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to set up a we're going to set up a router over here. For that, I'm going to import from React router DOM. What am I going to import? I'm going to import a browser router. Okay, and I'm going to give it an alias. Basically, it's like a nickname for the component. I'm going to name it as router. All right. Okay. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create this router over here, and inside this there will be two components, which is my header, and then there is my main content, right? So this is where all the posts will be displayed. We have not created this two components, so now this will give me an error over here if I save this file. Okay, so for that, what do we need to do? In source, can you send the code in the chat? Um, if this will all be available on GitHub later on. So if you want to just follow that, so you can do that. Okay. For the source, I'm going to create a new folder called components. And in this, I'll create the file for header.js, right? So let's do that. And second, I'll be creating is content.js. So I'll be using the ES7 snippets to create my components. Those who don't have, they can type this all out. Okay. And same goes for content. Okay. Now I'm going to import them both into our app.js. So I'm just going to click Control space, and it will auto import the files for me. Let's check on the browser if it's done correctly. Okay, you can see both of them are available over here now, right? Okay. Now let's build the header first. So for the header, what we're going to do is for the header, we are going to be using something called as material UI. Okay, so this is the library that I'll be using for creating the components. So let's look at the app bar. So our header, as you can see over here in this deployed application, this is what we call an app bar. So it's like a header that Material UI has already built for us. Okay, so I'll just be using this. Right, let's import all these files that will be required. App bar, B is capital, make sure about that. Next that I'll be putting is the toolbar from Material UI, right? My app bar is going to have the position as sticky so that it stays on top. Okay. Inside the toolbar, I'm going to let's look back at our application. So this is the whole toolbar. There are going to be three things. So first is the icon button, right? So that we can come back to the home page. A login button, sign up button, so that we can get redirected to the login page and the sign up page. All right. So let's do that now. So first thing that we're going to need is an icon button, right? And inside this, we are going to be displaying the image. Control space. Yes, that's the shortcut for auto importing. Okay. So the icon, I'm going to provide this in the GitHub repo. So for right now, if you want, you can put just a text over here instead. Instead of an icon button, you can put a button over here. But I'll be putting the CSI logo over here. So this is the image that we will be using. I will provide this to everyone using GitHub. Let me just put this file to GitHub. Yes, I logo. So I'll send the link for this file. Any format for image, or you can use any image, or that's not an issue. I'll send the GitHub link for our repo. So over there inside the social media application, in the public folder, you will find the CSI logo. You can use that, or you can put your own logo over here. Doesn't matter. Okay. Coming back. Coming back to our application, which is over here. Okay. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to import the logo from, we are going to be accessing through the public folder, so we don't need to do that. What we are going to be doing instead is I'm going to just have the image tag over here. Okay. What this is going to do is the source. So all our files in the public folder, okay, all the files in the public folder, we can access it from the root of the application. Okay. So if I just open our whatever domain name is and then slash and then the public folder file name. Okay. So for example, this is CSI logo.png, right? So this is going to serve me that file. So any file from the public folder is available, right? Hence the name public folder. Okay. So for to access that file, I'll just be putting the path of the file, which is slash CSI logo.png, so that I can access the file. Okay. and I'm going to specify some width and height to it. Okay, so let's see how does it look. Okay. So the question is there any format for images? So yes, you can put any JPEG, PNG. So what we're displaying, so icon button is just a wrapper around the image class, right? It's just putting the button functionality on the image. So what you're displaying over here doesn't matter. So any image that you can display using an HTML image tag, so it be it PNG or a GIF, GIF, or any SVG, all files are available using this. Okay, so this should have render. Okay, now this is render. I'm just going to change the color to white. So this is just like my personal preference. I'm going to change the background color to white. Okay. So now I will add the next this thing. So I'm going to put all of this on the right side, right? I want all of this on the right side. So I'm login and the sign up buttons separately from the button. So for that, I'm going to put this, I'm going to be putting this inside the a div so that I can group them together, and I'll be creating buttons. So this one will be for login. Then similarly, I'll be having for sign up, and this one will be for logout, right? So these are the three buttons that I'll be doing, and this will be displayed according to our authentication state. All right. So it's not importing the button. It did import the button. Okay, sorry. Video icons will work too. So GIF might work. I'm not sure about video icons. You can try it out and then let everyone know. Okay. Right. All these buttons are there, and I'll be adding on this div. I'm going to be adding a margin left of auto, so that it's pushed to the right. All right. So we are done with the nav bar. Okay. Next, what we are going to be building are the different pages, right? So first, over here in the content, right? So content is going to be having three pages, right? So the content might be either the post page, the login page, or the sign up page, right? So this content will have three states. So how are we going to decide that? We're going to be deciding that according to our URL. So let's do that now. So for that, there's something called as switch that comes from React Router DOM. Let me try to auto import it from React Router. So sometimes, okay, it did come, React Router DOM. And according to this, we will be having different routes. Okay, so this is something also, this also comes from React Router, router over here. Okay. Okay. Sometimes the auto import doesn't work, so you have to do it manually. Sorry, not router, root, my mistake. Okay. So this will have a property of path. So this will be slash, this will be hello, right? Home page. This is going to be home page. Similarly, I'll be creating two other routes. So this one will be login route, and this one will be my sign up route. Okay, let's try going on this path. So login, but as you can see, okay, let me just come back over here. So this will display login, and over here, sign up page. Now let's see whether this thing is working. Okay. What kind of routes? Okay, so these are the routes of your browser, right? So whenever you go to some website, there might be, right, the home page, a login page, sign up page. So how do you go between the routes? So that's what we are learning right now. Okay, so let's try going on these three routes and see whether we are getting these things rendered on the page. Okay, so this is the home page. It should render hello. That's right. Let's go to the login page. Okay, we're still getting hello. There's some issue, right? Then let's go to the sign up page. Even this is showing hello. So there is some sort of problem going on. But now let me just shift this to the end, right? Let me shift this thing to the end. Okay, now you can see that, oh, now I can see the sign up page and also the login page. Okay, you can see that login is being displayed. So why didn't it work before? So what's happening is, so this is like a switch case. Okay, so it will check with each path. So right now, if I'm on this page, right, it's going to check, okay, am I on slash login? No. Okay, it will go ahead. Am I on slash sign up? No. Okay, it will go here. Am I on slash? Yes. So it's going to render this page, right? Okay. But what happens when I put this in the first is whenever I'm at slash login, so it takes the slash part, okay, and it matches it with this one, right? When I'm on slash login, it matches that. Sorry, I didn't save the file. Yeah, it matches this with this path. Okay, slash login has this thing, right? So how do we avoid that? One solution is, as I said, put this in the end, right? Or second thing that you can do is you can pass it another prop called as exact. Okay, so now it wants exactly on the slash route. No other route should be matched with this. Okay, so now if I put this, now you can see it works properly again, even if I put this in the first place, right? Is this clear? This is how we do routing. It's very easy. You just need to wrap your whole application in a router, and then you need to display according to different routes. That's all. You need a switch. That's all. Any doubts up till here? Okay, moving on. Now let's actually build all these pages. Okay, so for this, I'm going to be creating the home page, right? So this component I'll build. Same goes for login and sign up, right? So let's build these three components. So let's go to component. I'll create these files, home.js, right? Home. Okay. Then I'll create another file inside my components called as login.js. You can see over here, it's present. RAFC login. And last file is going to be signup.js. Okay. And let's import the all three of these files over here. Okay, let's come back to our application. Okay, there's no changes in this. Let me refresh the page. Okay, there's no changes as such. Like all I've done is like put all of the pages into their separate components itself. Okay. Okay. Now let's. So we should now be able to navigate using these buttons, right? So let's go take a look at that. We'll come back to the header. Okay. Now React Router DOM, it provides another. It provides a hook called as use history. Okay. So let's import that. React router DOM, and from that we are going to be importing something called as use history. Okay, and now let's use this. So we're going to be using this hook, cons history, use history. Okay, now over here, now I have full access to the history of our browser. Okay, so what I'm going to do, when I click on this button, so I'm going to put a on click handler. What's going to happen is, right, it is going to do history dot push. So what it's going to do is, currently whatever my history is going to push another path on top of it. Okay, so for this I'm going to give it a path of slash. So this is going to redirect me to the home page, right? Similarly, the login button, login, right? This is going to redirect me to the login page, history dot push slash login. Okay, I'm just going to copy this and save, right? So, and this is going to go to the sign up page. Sign up, right? Okay, now let's try these buttons. So when I click on this button, it takes me to slash. When I click over here, it takes me to slash login. When I click over here, it takes me to sign up. Okay, so this is how you move between pages, right? Okay, so this was all that is required for like very basic routing. If you want to learn more about how you can do more complex routing, I suggest you go to the website for this library, reactrouter.com. Over here, you can find everything that is required. So this is how we created the router. This is the switches, right? Similarly, you can try this out. Okay, more advanced routing you can learn from here. Okay, coming back to our application, let's build two of these things, login and sign up pages. Okay. So for that, what we're going to do is, both of them have a very similar style, right? Both these pages have a very similar style, right? So we're going to be using, we will be writing this in a same way. Okay, first things first, we need both of them in like a proper width, right? So there's a component called as box that comes from MUI, material UI. Let me just take the import properly. Can you show app.js, right? Just give me a moment. I'm just importing the box file. So, right. So this is the styling that I'll be using for this. Coming back, where was I? Over here, right? So this is the styling that I will be using for this. Okay, and let's import this from. Okay, it's not giving me an import. Box. Now it probably should give me. Okay, this comes from MUI system. Okay, so this is the import for box. Okay, so this is this. What this will do is it will basically give me a very responsive, nice width for the file. So when I go to, let's say, a phone view, it will give me a better aspect for looking at the file. So when I go to a phone view, you can see it takes almost the full width. And when I'm like this, it takes only a little bit of the screen. It doesn't stretch all the way. So this is a little bit of responsive design that you can do using material. So what this does is, it's like a container, it's a div. So when my viewport width, right, is excess, that means it's like a phone. So there are different breakpoints like of your viewport. So over here you can see this is the width, right? So when I increase it, so this viewport changes, right? So this is like your screen width. Okay. So using that, I'm saying that when it is excess, so excess has its own breakpoints. You can look at it from Material UI's website, what's the exact value. So if it's on a phone view, it's going to be of 300 width, and when it's like on a tablet or on a laptop, it's going to be of 500 width. That's all. There's nothing much. Okay. Okay. Coming back, let's build the login and the sign up. A little. That's just a little bit of responsive design that we have put in there. Okay. Okay. Coming back. For sign up, first let's build the sign up page. Okay. For that, we are going to be using card from Material UI. Right. And in that, I'm going to be having a card header. This is another component that comes from Material UI, and it's going to have the title of sign up. All right. This will be a self-closing one. Let's have a look at it. How does it look? Okay, sign up. Okay, I should like take this into the center. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the styling onto this. Over here, coming back over here, and in this, I'm going to add it. So position will be absolute. From top, it will be 50%, left 50%, and then I'll take it. So basically, it's just going to center it on the page. Let's check, does it happen? Yeah, you can see it's on the center of the page again. Okay, continuing. Let's come back to sign up. Okay, next thing, card content. This is where our main or text field and everything will be present. This also comes from Material. Then we'll be having a text field where we will have the input. Okay. And for this, we will be having some styling, because as you can see, as of right now, let me refresh. Yeah. So over here, we don't want this kind of styling. So for that, what I'm going to do, first thing, I'm going to make it a variant of standard. And second, I'm going to make its width to 100%. All right. So it's going to take the full length, full width of this. Okay. And last that I'll be giving, I'm going to give it a placeholder of, so this one will be email. Right. Sorry, this one will be name, not email. Email will be next one. And I'm going to give it also a name of name. So we will be using this when we will be creating our handle change, right? Okay. Now let's look at this. We can see we have a placeholder now. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to be building the okay. Another thing that we need to add is over here, this chain. This is a self-closing tag, not opening and closing one. Okay, I'll be using this for email and password. So this one will be email, and this will have a type of email. Okay, next one, this is a password, placeholder will be password, and next it will have a type of password so that it will hide when I'm typing. Okay, so let's look at this password. You can see it shows dot dot dot, right? Okay. Another thing that I'm going to add is I'm going to add some margin over here. So 2vh, which is viewport height. Okay, save. All right. And last thing that we need to add is 2 buttons, one for email and one for Google. For that, what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to create a div, and there will be 2 buttons. Right, and this one is sign up. This one will be sign up with Google. All right, and for this, some styling. It will be display flex and justify content center and some margin on the top of 2h. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, this looks good. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for login page, except the only difference is it won't have the name field on it. Okay, and let's copy these things. Okay, we will be removing the name. We don't need that. This will be login. What else do we need? This one will be login. We could have done this in a reusable way, but for just for 2 components, I didn't feel that we should make this component reusable. It's just a very small code. Okay, let's look at both the screens. You can see, yeah, we have the placeholders and we have these fields, right? Okay. Now we will deal with authentication using Firebase. Okay. So you can see, if I click on this button, it will take the fields from this text fields, and it will try to log in using this. And for this, it's going to open a Google Auth provider, right? From which I can log in using my emails. Okay. Let's come back over here. Now, how do we do that? Okay. So for that, yes, I close this. Okay. So first thing that we need to do is first we need to log these text fields. So for that, we are going to be using something called as use state. So we learned about this. So instead of creating 3 different ones for name, email, and password, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to I'm going to put all 3 of them into one state. Okay, just for easier management. Okay, so you can see how I'm going to do that. So name, then I have email, and last one is password. Okay, right. I need to import this. Right. Yeah. So, okay. Next thing, I need to pass all of them. So value equals to state dot name. Similarly, I'm going to add all of them over here, and I'm going to be changing them to email, and this one to password. Right. Next, I'm going to add an on change, right, to track the changes, and this will be handle change, right? So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now look at this handle change clearly, okay, because this is going to be different from what we did earlier. Not very much, just a little bit different. Okay, so it's the same. Okay, what did we used to do? We used to just set state from to e dot target dot value, right? But we can't do that. Why we can't do that? Because this will give us a string, right? But our state is an object, right? So how do we deal with this? So what we're going to do this, we are going to use the previous state first. Okay, previous state, right? So I said when we were dealing with in the to-do application, I said like whenever you're updating something using itself, you should use previous state. This is the second use case where previous state is useful. Okay. So how we are going to do this? Okay. Next line. Okay. What I'm going to return. Okay. So over here, whatever is returned is going to be the new state. I'm going to return an object because our original state is also an object. Then I'm going to spread my previous state. So what does spread do? So when I write this thing, what it's going to do is it's going to open this previous state and this thing. So currently whatever my state is in this form will be put over here from here till here. So this will be what previous state puts over here. Okay. So this is what spread does. So this is what it's going to look like. Okay. Now let's just back up. Okay. Now on this, now I can override whatever I want. Okay. So first I need the key. So that's why e dot target dot name. So here comes the use of name. Okay. So this is how it's accessing it. So this is going to be the key. So for this field, it's going to be name. So it's going to update this one and its value will be e dot target dot value. E dot target dot value. And let's save this thing and let's check, does this work, right? I'll try typing something over here, sorry, on the sign up page. Not right now. Okay. So now you can see I can type over here and it's tracking all these changes. Is this clear? This is same as what we did. It's just a little different. So this, if you don't know about spread operator, so this is how you do that. Okay. And second, this is how you access any key using JavaScript. Okay. Because we don't know the name of the key. Initially, we are going to take this during runtime. So that's why you use the square brackets. Is this clear? All right. So this is done. We are going to do the same thing even in login page. Sorry. Over here. Login page, we are going to remove name. Right. And next, what we are going to do is we're going to take the value and on change. And we're going to put that over here. Value on change. Value on change. Over here. And this one will be password. And this one's email. Right. And import this. Right. Okay. Good. Okay. Sign up page, login page. Both of them are tracking now. Okay. Now we will add the functionality for our authentication. So when we click on this button, so on click, what it should do is it should call the authentication service of Firebase. So sign up with email. Let's write this function. Const sign up with email. All right. So how it's going to do this? So for that, we will need Firebase. Okay. So let's come back to our application, which is over here. We are going to click on settings. We're going to go to project settings. Okay. We'll go over here. You can see this section called as your apps. We'll click on this button, which is for web app. Okay. Now it's going to add some like we have to register our web app. Okay. So for this, we can give it some name. So CSI social media. This is the name that I'm giving. I'll set up the hosting for this and I'll register this. So this created a file application for my web app, for my application, right? This is the first step. Second step, we already installed Firebase. Okay. we are going to copy all of this file. So over here, we're going to click on copy. We're going to come back in the source folder. We will create firebase.js. All right. And we're going to paste all of this in. Okay. Or you can keep the analytics if you want. I'm just going to remove it. All right. Okay. So what it's going to do is using this config. So these are our API keys and everything. You should keep this as a secret usually using environment variables but for this tutorial purpose, we're just keeping it over here. And we are going to initialize an app. All right. Next, what we need to do is we are going to import from Firebase slash we are using auth, right? So from that we are going to be importing something called as, the application name is going to be wait a second, I messed up my files. Okay, let's just look at the name, what it should be. I can't seem to find it. Okay. And this is the authentication for web. Get started. Documentation is going to be your biggest friend. Okay, it's called get auth. Okay, let's come back over here and we're going to create const auth equals to get auth, and we are going to pass the application to it. Okay, right. Next, we are going to export this. So let's import all the other services that we will be using too. So for that, I'm going to be using Firestore. So get Firestore. Let's import that first. So over here, import Firebase slash Firestore, Firebase slash Firestore. Right. So these are the imports that we will be using. So from Firebase, okay, we are going to be importing from Firebase Firestore. We are going to do get Firestore. From Firebase auth, we will do get auth, and from Firebase storage, we will do get storage. Okay, these are the three things that will be required, and we are going to do. We are going to initialize all three of them over here. So get Firestore, and we'll pass the app to it, and last const storage. For that, get storage and pass the application, and we are going to import all three of them, auth, db, and storage. Right, is this clear? We are initializing our Firebase application and we are subscribing to these three services. Okay, okay. Continuing, we'll come over here. So over here we are going to first use auth. This is the one that we just created in firebase.js file, and we are going to use another function called as create user with email and password. So that comes from Firebase auth, right? we need to pass our auth to it. Okay. Per second, we are going to pass the email. So that comes from our state.email. And the third that it requires is the password. That comes from state.password. All right. We are giving all three parameters to it. It's going to return the promise with the user credential, right? Okay. So for handling promises, we can use either async await or we can do the then catch. So for this, right now I'm going to be using then catch. Okay. So then I'll get some result. Okay. And just let's see what that result is. And dot catch, if there is any error, just console log it. All right, let's see. Let's try signing in as our application over here. Sign up, name Mitanshu. So in our application, oh yeah, click on next, next, and next. So this is okay. You just click next, next, next. You have the application now, and whatever values that we took, it's still available from here. You can look at that. Let's come back to authentication. Right now, we don't have any users. You can see this is empty. Now, once I file is not opening. Right. Coming back, in our React application, when I think I'll turn off my camera because my PC is lagging now. Okay. Okay. Now I'll click on sign up. And let's see what we got in console log. We saw that password should at least be 6 characters. Okay, my mistake. I should have put more. Okay, now let's sign up. So, okay, now you can see the result. So this is some error that it console log. Okay, so we are also doing error handling. It's not just going to crash our website. Okay. Now let's see what all we got. So these are some values that we get about the user. So there's email, there's your different access token, but for email password, there's not much that we can get. For our Google sign in, we'll get a lot of information over here. So we'll see when it comes. Okay. All right. And if we check back over here, now we have that user mitanshu.r@somaya, right? And we got a unique user ID. So this is the ID for this user, particular user, and the provider. Okay. And you can see everything like when it was created and signed. Okay. So we created this one. Okay. Now for authentication, Google keeps track of the account, the email and the password, everything. Firebase is handling itself. Okay. But for us, we need to keep track of this data about the user ourselves. So we are going to be creating another collection in our database called as users, wherein we are going to be putting the information about them when they create a new account, right? So what we are going to do over here, so if we get a user, what we are going to do is we're going to be taking DB, right? That's the Firestore database, okay? And we are going to be setting a document, okay? In Firestore, we will set the document. What does it require? It requires a document reference. So let's create a document reference, right? And import that, right? So the document, what does it require? It requires first the Firestore database. So that's our DB. Second, it requires the path. So we will be doing in the users collection, and there will be the ID. So that's going to be the result dot user dot UID. You saw that we got some unique IDs for each user. So this will be unique, right? So we will be creating our documents using this ID. Okay. So this is the document reference. And then the second parameter that we pass to it is the data. So what all we need to keep track of. So we are keeping track of two things. One is the username and second is the avatar, because email we will get from the user itself. Okay. So it's going to be user name will so this username will be state.name. All right, state.name. And second one, the avatar. So I don't want to keep it blank, so that's why I'm going to be taking it from like it will be a little bit auto generated from a website. I'll just put the link of the website over here. So that's over here. So this is a function that returns random values between minimum and maximum. And this is the URL of the avatar, right? Over here. So I'll put this thing in the chat box in case someone wants to take this. Or this just gives me random user avatars to put for profile pictures. I'll also put the code for the random number generation. Okay. You'll find all of this on GitHub later on also. All right. Now let's try this. So for that, let's first delete the user that we just created. Right. Go and delete. Okay. Now let's try signing up again. Sign up. Firebase error already in use. Okay, I think I might have created a race condition. Let's delete this one again and try it again. It might not have finished deleting it, and I have saved the file, right? So it should run. So if I click on, I'll just refresh this. And this will be Mitanshu. So if I click on sign up, password should be at least 6 characters. Let's change it to 6 characters. We're getting some errors from Firebase for writing it into Firestore. Okay. There seems to be some like error. We have the user now. The error is coming when we are trying to add it, right? Over here. Oh, we did add it, but it gives me an error nonetheless. So let's try this again. We'll delete this and try this again. So maybe that error is nothing like we need to worry about. I'll just try this thing again. Okay. Coming back. This is correct. We are when we are completed with doing this, we are going to set the document. Okay, well, let's just check in case there is an error. We'll just put the error handling. So if there is any error, just console log the error. Okay. All right. Come back to the website. There are no users as of right now. We will sign up using this email, right? And let's check the users. We created the user, and in the database, we created this one, right? Okay, so this thing works. Okay, continuing. Now, similarly, we're going to be using this for our Google one. Okay, so Google is a little different how we do this. So I'm going to create a new file. It's going to be inside utils and slash. It's going to be auth.js. So over here, I'm just going to be creating the function for signing into Google. All right. So const sign in with Google. Okay, so when you're signing in with Google, there's no like sign up. There's only sign in. Either you are signing like in for the first time or you are just signing in regularly. Okay, so that's why we are going to put some checks over here for checking if the user already exists. So in the previous version of the Firebase API, we had the value available if the person is a new person, but right now because that's not available, we'll have to check manually. So let's see how we're going to do that. So this is going to be a function. So there's a function called as sign in with pop-up over here. So this comes from Firebase Auth. First thing that it requires, as you can see, it requires the auth. So let's import that. Second, it requires a provider. Okay, now where does this provider come from? Let's add the provider, const provider. So this will be a Google Auth provider. This also comes from Firebase Auth. And this is going to be a new auth provider, right? So this is going to link the Google service to our to the pop-up. Okay. So after this is done, this is going to return us with a promise. So dot then is going to give us a result, right? And in the result, we'll first take the user, goes to result dot user, and then we are going to first check, is this a new user? So for that, we'll check in the Firestore, get doc, document, right? And the document, how will we check? First, we'll pass the DB, then the collection name, and then the user ID, because that's on what we are creating our document, right? So that's going to be user.uid. Okay. So this will either give us something or not give us something, right? So dot then we'll check the document snapshot. Okay. So if doc snap dot exists, okay, so that means that such a document exists. It's going to check for us. Okay, so if this is a new user, this will give us false. So we will check if it does not exist. So I put the exclamation marks, means not exists. Okay, so if the document doesn't exist, means it's a new user. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the document, right? So I'm going to create the user using the same document reference. So because we are reusing this, let's just create a document reference out of that over here, so that we can just pass it over here and over here. Okay, and the data that's going to be in it. So there's two values that I give, username. So that will come from user. So this is what Google provides it with. So the your Google display name, so that I will put over here. Okay, so whatever is your Google username, that will be what is going to be a username for this application. And second, the avatar is going to be the user's photo URL. Yeah, your Google photo, whatever is your Google profile's photo, that's what is going to come over here. Okay, right. So we set this thing, and if there is some problem, so catch that error and console log it, because error handling is very important. Same goes for this then over here. Dot catch error CLG error. Okay, somewhere else over here. Dot catch. All right. So we did all the error handling. So we have the sign in with Google now. Okay. So let's just call that thing. So we can use this both for login and sign up, the same function. So that's why I created a separate file for it, because it's going to be used by both. Okay. Now let's just connect this one button. On click, I'm going to sign in sign in with Google. Give me the auto import with Google. Okay, sign in with Google. Let's try. Okay, manually. I'll have to do this manually. Import. So it's from dat/utils/auth. Okay, I forgot to export this file. That's why it wasn't coming. So I need to export it before I can use this in some other file, right? And this will be sign in with Google, right? Now I can use this. So sign in with Google. This is connected now. Let's try. Does this thing work now? Our users are right now, there's only one user, and we will be, doc is not defined. Okay, doc is not defined. I think we forgot to import it somewhere. Let's check. Yes, we did forget. Okay. Okay. Sign up with Google. So I'm going to sign in using my personal email. Okay. Right. Now it's signing me in using Google's auth provider. Okay. Oh, I didn't get any error. Let's have a look. Let's refresh. I have this thing with the Google provider, and let's check whether it's in the database. Right. So this is my Google username and my Google photo URL. So both of the sign up functions work correctly. Last that we are going to add is the login function. Okay. So let's come back over here. This is the sign up function. Last is the login function. So for that, we are going to be using a new function called as const login with email. All right. And what it will require is login with email from, okay. So for this, the, the import that we require is for login, it is I can't seem to find the login one. Let's check. Manage users. Let's check. It should be in the import somewhere. Okay. Import from at Firebase /auth, and the module name will be login with email or something. Okay. I can't seem to find the login one. Yes, sign. It is not login. It is sign in with email. Yes. Okay. So we are going to be using this function sign in with email and password. First thing that will pass is the auth that will come from Firebase. Second, the email, which is state.email, and the third thing, state.password, right? If this is okay, so it will give us the user credentials. So dot then. So I don't require the user right now, so I'm not going to take this one. So underscore means that I'm not interested in using this variable. Okay. So if this thing happens, I will do something logged in. So over here, I'm going to redirect to the main page. So we will put that thing. So catch error console log error. Right. So let's just put the redirecting logic over here. So for that, const history is equals to use history. React router DOM, right? And if it is logged in, I'm going to push to the home page, right? Because we are done with this. All right, history.push, and same goes for this one. Where's the register page? Sign up page. So over here, const history, so as to use history. And after we are done, what we are going to do is, after over here, history dot push to home screen. And for this, for sign in, we are going to give it to this one so that it can handle this one. So I'm going to pass the history to it. Instead of calling it directly, I'm going to pass the history. So I'll accept the history over here. And once this is done, so over here, after this person is logged in, everything is done. I'm going to do history dot push to home page. All right, this is done. This is done. And on the login page, we need to connect these things. Log in with email. And for this one, I'm going to be calling the sign in with Google that we created, and I'm going to pass the history to it. All right, so this is done. Let's check. Okay, let's try to do this. Is this working? So is this going to redirect me to the home page? All right, it does do that. And let's check login. So this one over here, let's try logging it in, and it does that, right? So both the logins are working successfully, but now the next question is, how do we track who is the current user, right? So for that, we're going to put something called as Auth Listener, right? So for that, there is something called as, we will track the user in our homepage or in our app, because we want to pass the user both to the header and to the content. Okay, so for that, we'll be doing auth, we'll be taking auth, and we need auth listener. So the function name is, what's the function name for this? On auth state changed. That's the function name, on auth state changed. This is the function that comes, right? So it requires, first, it requires is the auth. Second, it requires an observer, right? So this is the observer. What I'm going to pass it is, this observer is going to be the auth user. Okay, this is the user that will be currently logged in. All right, now let's do something with this user. So if there is an auth user, that means the person is logged in, right? Okay, so here I'm going to put some state where I'm keeping track of the user. So this is my user, and initially the user will be null. Okay, there's no user initially. So if I have an auth user, I'm going to set my user to this auth user. So I'll change my current user. Okay, and else what I'll be doing is, I'll set the user to null, right? So that means it's logged in. Okay. Next thing, this returns me an unsubscribe. So if you remember, I said in use effect, there is something called as cleanup functions that we need to do, right? Unsubscribe. So we dealt with this when we were creating the to-do application too. So this whole thing will be inside a use effect. So the effect is this whole thing, right? All right. Okay. Okay. Then in the cleanup function, I'm going to unsubscribe to this changes because I don't want any memory leak. And this will be not dependent on anything. All right. So this is my use effect. Now let's check. I'll just put a console log over here so we can see what the current user looks like. Coming back to the app, we forgot to import both of them, use effect and use state. The use effect and the use state. All right. Let's check. Use state is not defined. Okay. It might require a few more seconds to do all of this. Let's refresh the page. All right, you can see this is the current logged in user. So I have currently logged in using my email. Let's try doing it using Google and see what's the difference. You can see my current user changed to my Google account, right? Okay. Now, what are we going to do with this? So we will use this user to create posts and create comments, right? All right. We will pass this to the header. We'll be using this later on, and we'll also be passing this to the content. All right. Okay. So this was whole authentication that we were using, right? This whole part, this was whole authentication. Over here, did anyone have any doubt? What did we do? We created two methods. One is for creating user is using email and password. Okay. It creates using just email and password. Second, logging it using signing it in using email and password. And third, using Google, right? And we just created a document so that we can track the user information, right? Is this clear? Okay, I'll continue. Okay, now we will be creating the posts. Okay, so I'll be moving fast over here because this is something we have already done in the previous sessions. I'll be moving a little fast over here. So first I'm going to be creating a new component called as posts, right? Right. I'm removing the actually home and post are the same page. Okay. I just use it a different name. Okay. So inside home, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to track. So I'm going to keep track of my posts, and initially they will be empty, right? Next, what I will require is next I will have to call them up, right? So for that I'll use effect to get from the database. Make a database call. So for that, I'm going to do get docs, sorry, not get docs. I'm going to put a snapshot listener. So on snapshot from Firestore. So this takes the DB. Oh no, sorry, it takes the document reference. So that's going to be the whole collection. I'm going to read the whole collection of our DB, and it will be from posts. This is the collection name. Okay. And then I'll get a observer, which is the snapshot All right. So for this snapshot, what I will be doing is I'll just be extracting all of them. So this is going to be my temporary post. So it's going to loop through all the documents present inside the snapshot, and it's going to extract the data from them. Okay. And then I'm going to set my posts using this. All right. Then this will return me an unsubscribe. And I'll just call that so that I'll stop listening to this real time. All right. What else? So let's just I'll just show what will be there inside this console log posts, and this will be empty. Coming back over here. Okay, so initially this is going to be empty, right? Because there are no posts as of right now. Okay, so this is where I'll be reading all the posts from. Okay, next thing, I'm going to create a single post. Okay, so for that, what I'm going to be doing is I'll create another component over here, post.j. So this is a single post. Okay, RAFCE, and this is going to be looking like this. Okay, so there will be card. There's going to be a card header. I'm going to give it an avatar. So these are just things that I'm going to be displaying. Okay, so I'll show what all of these are in a moment. Okay, card content, comments right now. I'll just do this, and even this. We don't have this right now. All right. So these are the things. Let's have a look. How do they look? I'll render them over here in this. A single post will look like this. Okay. So for that, I'll have to give this some props. Okay. So we were using props in this way. There's another way we can destructure it. So instead of props, I just do this so that I can access each and individual key directly, right? Okay. So what all is going to come from our post? So our post structure is going to look something like this. There's going to be the avatar and the username of the user, and then there's going to be the content image and the caption. Let me just copy this data into our database so that we have some. Any doubt, someone? Okay, we'll just add this ourselves. This is going to be the avatar. Then this is going to be the caption. Then we have the content image, which will be over here. We won't be able to access that, so I'll just take any other image. Okay. In this. All right. And last that we'll be putting is the username. Okay, let's see how does this look on our website. Host is not defined. Auto import this. Hmm. Okay, there was some issue. Okay. As you can see, the card is there, but it's still not like perfectly scaled. But you can see this is a whole card over here that we are seeing, right? We have the image URL, the name, the content image, and the captions, right? So this is how we will be displaying multiple of them. We'll just put two of them. You can see how it looks, right? Okay. So we are going to just give different props to it for all of these values. So where is it going to come from? So as I said, there's the avatar, then there's the username, there's the caption, and then there's the uh, content image that we'll be having, right? Okay. So avatar, instead of this big thing, is just going to be avatar that comes. Next, for this, we'll be having the username. Okay. This will be the caption. And last, the content image is over here. This is very big. It's going to be the content image, right? Okay. Right now it's all blank. Let's first fix the styling of this. So I'm just going to put all of this into like one like a little like compact version of this. So for that, I'll be using something called as container that comes from material. Okay. This container. Okay. Okay. And basically it's just going to add some like side gutters to it. Okay. So that everything is like in good width, right? Okay, now let's add some things into this. So for all this data is going to come from posts, right? So we are going to loop through the post to display this thing. So posts dot map. So this will give us an individual post, which I will be destructuring into avatar, then the username, then the content image, and the caption. And then using these things, I'm going to return a post. So I'm just going to do spread of this thing, right? This whole thing, I'm just going to spread out and I'm going to pass it exactly like this to post. So instead of writing avatar equal to avatar, username equal to username, I can do this instead. All right. Okay. Let's save this. Right now, I won't see any post over here because there is none present in the database. Okay. Next thing that I will be doing is I will create the add account, right? Add post. So for that, I'll go to the header. I will go to the header. I'll create another button over here. Button, which is going to right, and this is going to be add post. And on click, I'm going to do something. And what's that? I'm going to create a post. Okay, let's make this function. So let's see what this thing, how does this do this, right? Okay, let's come over here. Whenever I create a new post, first let me log in because I have put checks or to not allow me if I'm not signed in, right? Okay. Now that I'm signed in, okay. When I click on add post, it's going to just black out my whole screen and display me this, right? Where I can add the caption and the image. So this is using Material UI's modal. So this is something called as modal, and I'm just displaying this. Okay. For that, we will have to put this thing over here as modal. Then this requires a few props. So first thing is open. We'll create the state for it. Open. Initially, it will be false because we don't want this thing to be open. Okay. Create post. Right. Okay. Oh, this is just blank right now so that I can look at the screen. Okay. When I click on this, the modal should open. Okay. So for that, I will update this. So when I click this, it should set the open to true. Okay. So now that I click on this button, it's going to black out my screen. So right now it doesn't have any content. That's why it's giving errors. Okay. It needs error content inside it. Okay. Let me just move this over here. Okay. And second, when you close this, when you want to close this, so for that you need to do something, right? So the function will be to set open equal to false. It's going to close up that thing. Okay. So inside this, what are we going to display? We are going to display a card. Inside this, there will be a card content. Inside this, there will be a text field, which will be a variant of standard, and it will have the styling of width as 100%. And next, there will be a button, which will be upload. Okay, now let's have a look at this. Width, sorry, this is, yes, hold. Okay, let's look at this. You can see it's showing me the text field and the button, right? So right now I'm not adding the styling, or you can add the styling afterwards. Okay. So over here we have to keep track of the caption, and during upload we need to open a input field, right? So how do we do that? So for that, what we are going to do is I'm going to add a input, HTML input. Then I will be having first let's keep track of the caption. We use state or the caption, and initially caption will be empty. All right. And next that we require is the file. Yeah, file. Okay, file, we can keep the name of this. Initially it will be null. Okay, so initially caption and file, both of them will be null. So how do we set these things? So there's something called as reference. So for React, if we want to create a reference to something, so there's a hook called as use ref. Okay, and initially we need to keep it as null. Okay, this also comes from React itself. Okay, now we have created a reference. Now we need to assign this reference to someone. So for this, I'll pass this to input, right? So I pass this to input. Okay, and on click, what I'm going to do is I will do upload. This is upload file. This is the function that will be running. Okay, const upload file. Cool. All right. Next, when we click on this button, it should call this input field. So how do we do that? On click, whenever we click on this button, what do we want to do? We will, using this reference and whatever currently it is bind to. Okay, currently this reference will be an input field. So I'm going to click this. So using JavaScript, I clicked that button. Okay, so this is this is what will happen. Okay, I'll show what happens. So the add post. So when I click on upload button, right, it's going to sorry, input equal to file. I need to put a type equal to file, type equal to file, right? Okay, so when I click on this button, it will be as if I'm clicking on this input field, right? Okay, so next thing that I need to do is I will hide this button because I don't want to show this one, right? So for that, I'll do display as null. So this is just some CSS styling. So using this button, I'm linking to that input field, right? Okay. Okay, next thing that we are going to do is we are going to take the caption and whatever is the uploaded file. So for this, on change will be the event will set the file as e.target.files and the first file. That is the only file that it will take, right? And right, this is the file. I'll put the accept so that it takes only images. So for that, the accept is going to be something like it's going to be image/jpeg and image/png. So this is how it's going to look like. So this is what we are specifying so that we only want to deal with images, not with anything else for now. So this is how we do that. Okay, let's save this. If I click on this, it will show that it will only take image files, right? Okay, now we did that. And whenever we do, whenever we upload, whenever we like click a file, it's going to add this to the file state, right? So, okay. Next, what we are going to do is, actually, we didn't need to do that. We were supposed to do this upload file over here. There's no on click. And this whole thing is part of upload file. Sorry, my mistake. Right. And this upload file is going to be like this, right? And after setting the file, what it's going to do is, okay, it has the caption. Okay, we need to put this thing on the text field too. Where is it? Okay, the value is going to be caption and on change. I hope now we have done this so many times that everyone is just comfortable doing this. Setting all of these text fields target dot value, right? So now we are keeping track of caption also, and we get the file over here. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to take the storage. So this is the Firebase storage. Okay, for that we are going to run a command called as the command that we will be running is over here. The command is called as upload file, upload bytes. No, we are going to be doing upload file, not upload bytes. It is going to be, the function's name is going to be it's going to be put storage dot put upload file. There's another this one. Let's try put. Does put come? I have to check the documentation for that. Right. It was upload bytes. So we are going to upload bytes, and for that we will require a storage reference, which is going to look like ref. So this is a different ref. That's why we can't use this one. So we are going to rename this ref to, sorry, I'm going to rename this. I'm going to refactor this because we can't use this because it's clashing with another file name, another command name, right? So it I just refactored it. So over here also it changed it to input ref. Okay, now we can use ref over here. So this is the Firebase storage reference that we are using. So over here, I am going to pass it the storage as the first argument, which comes from our, I need to import it manually. Okay, it's already here. Okay, first is storage. Second one, I'll be passing it the path. Okay, so for the path, what we're uploading is the ID of the post, right? So for that, first we will create a post and then we will add this values into it. So how we will be doing that is, okay, we will be creating it using this thing so that the name of the file is always unique. So how does this thing works? So currently whatever the time is, okay, take that and dot whatever the file type is. So it's always according to your, so the file name will always be unique because it's taking date dot now. Okay, so this is going to be the file name. So when we are doing this over here, we will, and the third, where is it? Over here. And then the third one, which we want to give it, is the file itself, the third argument. So that's going to be e dot target dot files at 0. So actually this set file wasn't required. You can remove this. It's not required because we are directly passing the file to it. Okay, so dot, then we will get a snapshot which says what, where the file is uploaded and some information about. What we are going to take is, let's console log the snapshot to see how this thing looks, right? So sorry, snapshot. Okay, let's see how does this look. Oh, did we not import up this file? Upload bytes. Upload bytes. We did import this. What's the issue? Bracket. Okay, bracket issue. And for the image, that's going to be the file itself. So const image equals to this thing. Now let's check what happens. It's refreshed just to check. Okay, add post. So whenever I click on upload, let's click on this file. Let's see what's present in the console log. Catch, error, console log, and error. Okay, we can see the file over here. Okay, so this is the file, the first file that I uploaded. You can see over here where all this is present, right? Okay, so I will show it in the bucket itself. So come over here on your console. You can see over here it created using the time.now. It created this file and uploaded over here, right? Okay, so uploading is done proper. Now we need the download URL because we need to access this file. So how do we track that, right? Type of null. So yes, that's an error over here. So if this is present, then only do this. All right. Same goes for this. All right, just some checks so that we don't create unnecessary errors. So in the snapshot, we have this file. So over here, we will get all the data, like in which bucket it is present, what encoding, what file type, what's the name of the file, everything is present over here, right? So there's this one function called as, there should be a function called as get the download file. Let me just check. Yeah. So you give it the reference and the data, and it will give you the upload result. And inside this upload result, you will get the metadata and the reference dot. You should get the full path of the file, right? Over here. So what this full path is, over here, you can find the file name over here. So we will access the file using this path. Okay. So in the old API, you had something called as get download URL, but in the newer API that unfortunately is not present. So we will have to make a workaround around. We need to work around it. We'll just take the file path and then we'll access it directly from there. All right. Okay. So okay, so for uploading, what else do we need to do? Once this is created, we need to give this file path to our post, right? We need to create a post out of it. So for that, what we are going to do is we will add a document, because now we are not worried about like the ID of the document. Instead of set document, we'll be doing add document. And the reference will be the collection reference. So in which collection are we adding? We'll be adding it in the posts collection, and the data that we will be passing to it. So it will have two things. One is the caption, right? Second one, content image, which will be coming from this one over here. Where is this? Snapshot.ref.full path. So we will have to make a workaround, because in the old API we used to get a direct like HTTP link, but now we need to change the way this is accessed, the content image. All right. Okay. Uh, then we need to add the username, which will come from the current logged in user. So for this, we will first have to find the details of the user. So for that, get doc, right? And the document reference will be We'll use the DB. Oh, sorry, over here also we needed to pass the DB. Then the collection will be users and the ID will be user ID, which we have passed from home to the header, right? Over here in app, we pass the user to the header, right? So we can take that from our props. So user, and we will get it using the user dot UID. This will give us some data. All right. So dot, then this will give us the data about the user, and from that data, from the document, sorry, it will give us a document, and this document will have some data in it, which will be the username and password. Okay, so this thing will happen inside over here. From here, we are going to extract the username, and the avatar, which we will just pass over here, username and avatar. Okay, let's check if this thing works. Doc is not okay. Let's name it something else. So it's clashing. Doc is not defined. Import it. Okay, let's try again. Okay, now let's add this post. So the caption is first post, and we'll click on upload. Let's upload this file. We had this file. Okay, now you can see that we got the post, but the image is not being displayed. So that's because there's a change in the API. So we need to load it manually. So this individual, this one, instead of doing content image, what instead we are going to do is we are going to create a reference first, and then we are going to return the URL to this one. So for that, there's something called as get download URL. There's a function, okay, which will be get download URL from Firebase Storage. And for that, we have to pass the reference of the storage. We need to connect it to the storage. Then we need to give it the path, which is the content image, right? That's the full path, content image. Then from this, we'll get the URL. Then URL, which we will return as is, because this is the URL that we will be using. Okay. And if there is some error, dot catch error, then console log the error. Sorry. All right. Let's see, did this fix this thing? Okay, it can't do it this way. So I will check how this thing works, because there's this change in the API, right? There's a different way now we have to access the API. So maybe instead of doing this, we might have to do this instead, like from over here, this thing will be set URL, and we will take this from the state instead. So this thing, let's just extract and create a use effect out of it. So first we'll create the state for URL, and this will be blank for now. And for the use effect, this is what we'll be running. We'll get the URL, and then we'll set this URL with the URL that we got returned, right? And after that, there's no cleanup. And this does depends on, this does depend. Okay, so here comes the concept of dependency. So this function should run whenever the content image changes, right? So that's why this is in dependency. Okay, so let's save this, and over here in the image I will pass the URL instead and import use effect. All right. Okay, let's check this again. This should work now, right? Okay, it's working now. And for some reason, the profile image stopped displaying itself. I'll have a look at that, why the image stopped displaying, because that might be something from Google side, because in the other application this was working perfectly fine. I'll have a look on that. So this is how you deal with image uploading and downloading, right? In this part, is everyone clear? Any doubts? Okay, I'll be moving forward. Okay, that's clear. The avatar image from Google is not being displayed, so there might be some issue that's happening from Google side. Okay, so we are getting the posts now, right? So similarly, I'll try adding another post. So second post, and I'll upload this. I'll upload this image. Okay, now after the uploading is done, we should shut this down, right? So this is something that we need to do over here in header. Once we are done with this creation of the post, we will do the set open to false, right? So that we close the upload window after we are done. And what else we can do? We need to show these buttons only if you're signed in or signed out, right? So for that, we'll come to the header. We have the user, right? So we'll just put conditional rendering on all of them. So for this and this, login and sign up should be displayed if there's no user, right? So no user and, right? So if there is no user, you will be displaying these two values, right? So this gives an error because JavaScript should always return one component. So you can do something like this, opening and closing, right? These are called React fragments. This is used when something like this happens. We want to return two components, but that's not valid React syntax or JSX syntax. So that's why we use something like this. Okay. So this will only be displayed if there is no user, and logout button and add post will be displayed if there is if there is a logged in user. Okay. So let's do this. So this will be wrapped up and user and let's just wrap this in React fragments. Okay, now you can see I'm currently logged in, so I can see this. And last, let's add the logout route. Okay, so for logout, what we need to do is, let's come back to this thing, and from Firebase Auth, where's the Firebase Auth? Okay, we need to import it from Firebase Auth. We are going to sign out. Okay, so this is the function sign out. So when I click on the sign out button or the logout button, on click, sign out, right? It's going to call this thing. I need to call it. Yeah, I can just pass it directly. It linked what? Yeah, it linked. Okay, it's going to call this function sign out. Okay, it requires the auth to be passed to it. So that's why I'm going to call this thing in this way. It needs the auth passed to it. So this is coming from the Firebase and it's going to, yeah, it's going to sign out the current user. That's it. Okay, now let's check. So if I click on logout, you saw that it changed because the user is now deleted, right? We had added that auth listener. So according to that, we did all of this. Okay. Okay. So I think like the whole application is done now. We have the sign up page, login page, or the login sign up is done. Over here, you can look at all the posts. Okay, so Google is back up. Now you can see the image URLs. Okay, you can add your posts. Okay, if you want to create a post, you need to first log in, right? So I'll just like log in over here using my account. And you can add the post. Okay, over here you can add the caption. So this thing should also be cleared after the uploading is done, right? And you should check like is there a file already present or it should be an image. All these checks you can add when you click on the upload button, right? So all these things you can do. Okay, and I think that's it for today. We dealt with how to handle routing, right? We dealt with routing, we dealt with authentication, we had dealt with like Firebase storage uploading, right? And displaying all of this over here. So are there any doubts in today's session? Uh, then I'll just refine the styling of this page and put the updated code onto GitHub. So if anyone wants to look at that, they can. Okay. So any doubts for today's session? I'm sure this was a very like packed session because there were like so many concepts today. So tomorrow what we are going to do is we are going to discuss we are going to build a e-commerce website. So whatever we did today, we're going to do the similar, we are going to do something similar tomorrow, but we will be dealing with something called a state management. So when you have a very big application, so you saw over here how we were passing user to each component, right? So passing it through props, right? So this is called prop drilling when you send from app to content to home. So that's a lot of prop drilling that we don't want to do. Okay, so that's something that we want to avoid. So that's something we will avoid using state management, which we'll be discussing tomorrow. Um, and we will be also integrating Razorpay payment portal into our application if we complete it on time because e-commerce website is very big. All right. So I think that's it for today. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Vatanshi. And that brings us to the end of day 3 of the bootcamp. And on behalf of our college, KJSIIT, our principal, Dr. Suresh Shukrande, sir, our vice principal, Dr. Sunita Patil, ma'am, and Uday Rote, sir, who is the students' dean, and the entire CSI team, I would like to thank all of you for being such an amazing audience. So we hope you learned something new today and will implement it in your upcoming projects soon. And looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow at the same time, 3 p.m. for the final session of the bootcamp. I will be posting the feedback form in the chat box right now, so please fill that in order to get your certificate. Thank you.